Hi, this is Yuzuy. In the last video, we covered something crucial: performing a planned failover between two Qumulo clusters that run continuous replication. In this video, we'll discuss something critical: how to act quickly and reliably in the event of a storage outage. Since this is an unplanned event, it's essential to think it through in advance and include it in your organization's recovery plan. Ultimately, this process will be easy to handle and relatively low risk. It will require between 0 and 3 clicks. Between the initial configuration and any potential disaster, Yuzuy monitors most, if not all, of the critical parts of the process, handling necessary adjustments automatically or through notifications. Starting an unplanned failover is exactly the same as starting a planned one. The same clicks. However, there are 3 key differences between unplanned and planned failovers. An outage is unexpected. When the primary system fails, someone, or some system, will immediately notice. IT must act quickly. Yuzuy offers 2 failover options: a manual click or an API call. Depending on your recovery time objective and the availability of IT staff, you might choose to start the failover manually. If your monitoring or IT management system supports it, you can also trigger the failover with an API call. Both options have their pros and cons, and both are common choices. When discussing automatic failover initiation, it's important to also mention automatic failback. Although technically possible, since every function in Yuzuy can be triggered via API, automatic failback is not typically recommended. Errors in the monitoring system could cause repeated failover and failback cycles, leading to an unstable swinging state. Instead, triggering at least the failback manually by a human and having an extra eye on the secondary system in failover state is a common practice. Cluster 1 isn't available. Since the primary cluster is inaccessible, the secondary cluster's configuration must already be complete to offer everything that's needed. It's essential to synchronize configuration objects to the secondary site. If you only replicate directories without the corresponding shares, clients won't be able to connect. Yuzuy's synchronization function handles this. For more details, watch video 103. The latest bits of data may not be fully replicated to Cluster 2 if the outage occurs during a replication job. Cluster 1 will eventually return. When you successfully reboot Cluster 1's nodes, they may carry IP addresses already in use by Cluster 2, particularly if you're recovering the primary cluster after a partial or network outage. Fortunately, there's nothing extra to configure or decide here. If Cluster 1 comes back online, Yuzuy will immediately remove any duplicate IP addresses. It constantly checks for this in failover mode. By implementing and testing Yuzuy in advance, you've already done an excellent job of stabilizing this critical process. Let's wrap it up. The failover can be initiated manually or automatically by another system. Both options have their pros and cons, so consider what best fits your situation. A failover is effective even when the primary system is unavailable. After all, that's one of its main purposes. However, be aware that an outage could result in the loss of a small portion of data that was in flight during replication. Rest assured, you are well prepared for the return of the primary cluster, thanks to Yuzuy's automatic checks and interventions. And what about changes that happened in the meantime, between the initial configuration of Yuzuy and the failover? Beyond creating new shares, permissions and quotas might have changed, or nodes may have been added or removed. Well, you're covered. In the next video, we'll dive into cluster synchronization and change notifications. Thanks for watching.